Hey, hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. Welcome to Easy Cloud Trip. Today we are going to explore link service in Azure Data Factory. In previous session, we have explored what is integration runtime and what are all the things we need to consider before creating an integration runtime. So today we are going to explore much more deeper on a link service. So as I said earlier, link service is equivalent to a connection string. If you want to establish a connection to a source or a destination, then of course you should create a link service. So if you take up the diagram here, first we will be connecting to a source and we are doing some kind of transformation here, and then we are pushing into the sink. So for connecting to a source and for connecting to a sink, link service should be available. So you should create a link service to connect to a source, and also you should have a link service to connect to a destination. So in between, some transformation will happen that will be taken care by the uh, ADF, right? So in the previous session we also seen where the transformation will happen and who provide the compute power. If it is a activity dispatch, the destination store responsible for providing the compute power. So if it is a cloud to cloud movement, the Azure IR will provide any compute power. So this kind of stuff we already discussed in the previous session, right? So I hope everyone got the concept. We are connecting to a source. For connecting to a source, we need to create a link service. For connecting to a sink, we need to create a link service. So for if you want to connect to anything, you need to create a link service. So coming to types and categories and availability of connection store. So we should be aware of these kind of stuff. Okay. As of now, or as of today, so ADF have a lot of predefined connections to a different connection stores. Okay, so basically we are categorizing high level. We are categorizing into these many types: Azure and database, NoSQL, file, generic protocol, and service app. So these are all the six high-level categories. We the links, sorry, connections are segregated, or connections are grouped under these six types of categories. So if you take Azure, under Azure category, we do have a 17 different types of connection store available. If you take a database, we have a 30 different types of connection store available. For a NoSQL, there are four types of connection store available. If you take a file, we have eight types of different connection store available. And if you take a generic protocol, four types. And if you take a service and apps, 29 different connection stores is available as of today. So in these connection stores, a few stores will be under a preview, okay, and a few stores are already available. Okay, so we while creating, if you noted that if it is a preview feature, they will be intimating inside the round bracket. It is a preview feature like that. Okay, so I have given an example here. So okay, if you take Azure services, Azure, if you want to connect any Azure related connection store, so these are all the example for so you can able to connect to a Azure Blob Storage service, and you can able to connect to AWS Gen 2 service, and you can able to connect to Azure Data Explorer and the SQL database and SQL Manager instance. These are all the few example I have given here for a better understanding. So how they have categorized, right? So these kind of services will come under an Azure. So if you take a database, of course, we can connect to a SQL server. We can connect to a Teradata. We can connect to a SAP table, MySQL, MariaDB, different kind of servers, different kind of backend servers. We can able to connect it. We can able to connect it. So if you take a NoSQL, of course, like Cassandra, MongoDB Atlas, and Couchbase. So these are all the NoSQL databases connection sources already available in Azure, in the ADF. So if you want to pull any data from any kind of server, you can do that. Okay, there are certain restriction is available. I'll be telling in a few minutes. So if you take a file, Amazon S3. So today ADF provides most of the cross cloud, no, most of the cross cloud connection. Basically, you can able to connect Amazon S3. You can able to connect to an Amazon storage. Basically, these kind of things we can do from ADF. So they are focusing on connecting to the cross cloud things like a Google GCP, Google storage. Okay, so these kind of things are available already in ADF, and also few things are in under a preview features. So if you take a generic protocol, of course we can connect by using the endpoints HTTP OData. We can get the OData from the web by using an OData, and ODBC we can use an ODBC, and of course we can use a REST API. So REST API is a booming one. So I hope in upcoming session we will be discussing more on REST API also. So stay tuned on that one. Coming to our services and apps, so you have different services available. Software as a services, I mean, Microsoft 365, PayPal, Salesforce, App Cloud, ServiceNow. So these are all the example I have given you. So that you can also able to connect to these kind of services. Okay, so coming to the supported file formats, there are eight types of supported file formats as of today in ADF. First, Avro, Parquet, JSON, binary, delimited means it's a file delimited file, whether it's a CSV kind of delimited files, ORC, XML, Excel. So these are all the file formats supported, through by a linked service. So coming to a main point here, the one important point we need to be noted here. So far we have seen these many connections are available. We can able to utilize this connection for extracting the data from a source, and we are pushing the data into a destination, right? But the restriction here is few services. We can use few services as a source, but we cannot able to use few services as a sink. So that's the main difference here. So mostly you can able to utilize, or you can able to utilize extract data from all of the sources. 95 percentage or 98 percentage you can connect to any connection connection store here. Whatever mentioned here, you can able to connect to any connection store, and you can able to extract the data. You can able to utilize as a source, but a few few things, few services here could not support as a sink. You cannot able to push the data into the connection store. So that's the thing, major difference here. So such kind of thing here, if you take up a Amazon S3, you can able to pull the data from the Amazon S3. But if you want to push the data back to Amazon S3, so there are few restriction is there. Okay, so that's a thing we need to be little careful before creating a link service, or so before deciding to go for any link service. So we should be knowing this. So we should be very careful, whether this sources is supported in ADF, whether I can able to connect to these sources, whether I can able to connect that sources. So these things and all we should decide before creating a pipeline or before creating anything. Okay, so first we need to focus on how we are going to create an integration runtime, and next thing we need to focus on how we are going to create a link service. The planning is very important here. So because there are few restriction is in the ADF, like a few sources we cannot able to use as a sink, few sources cannot able to use as a source also. So we should be considered. There is a documentation, Microsoft documentation available. You can go ahead and see at any time. I hope link service is very clear. Now what I'll do, I'll show you in practical. So I'll go to Chrome. I'll portal.azure.com. Sorry, I opened the azure.com. So portal, why I'm opening a portal. I go to adf.azure.com. I want to go to my data factory. So once you are in the data factory, you can go to management hub, you can go to a link service, you can click plus. As I said, so this also we should be noted. Like I forgot to say this. One is there are two types of higher category here. So they have segregated. One is data store and another one is compute. I hope you know what is compute, right? And you also know what is data store. Like so, data store is nothing but we are going to connect to a data store and we are extracting the information or we are pushing the information. But compute is something different. Like if you want to a Databricks cluster, okay, if you want to connect to a Azure function, it's a compute, it is a serverless thing, right? So basically these are all comes under the compute part. Okay, here also they have categorized it. Okay, so we have discussed about these all types, correct? So high level they have we have two categories, one is data store and another one is compute. If you come to a second level, they have segregated into six types. Okay, well, it's like one is Azure database, file, generic protocol, and NoSQL, and so going for a service and apps. If you see, Microsoft, Amazon is available, and ORM is available. Oracle, you can able to connect to an Oracle and PayPal. So as I said, few things will be under a preview. You can use this one. Still, you can use this one, and you can give feedback to Microsoft, so they can improvise the thing. You can able to connect to a Salesforce service now, right? So if you want to extract data from a web, you can use an OData, and also you can use an HTTP and a REST API. Everything you can utilize it. So SFTP, FTP and HFTP is available for extracting the source. Coming to a database, like Amazon Redshift is available, and Drill is available, right? So Hive is available, MySQL is available. So almost you can able to connect popular things. So popular data stores or a popular database, you can able to establish a connection from a ADF. So that's the beauty of an ADF. So these are all the predefined connection string. If you want to, I'll show you. Azure Blob Storage. I want to create a connection to Azure Blob Storage and click. Okay, I'm clicking here. So basically, as I said, first IR should be available. As of now, I go for a auto resolve IR. I'm going to select a subscription in a real time. If suppose your database, okay, your source database or a source, your source system or a source data store is available within your subscription. You can able to pick it directly from here by selecting a subscription. You can select from here itself. If suppose it is an external thing, it is residing in the on premises or it is residing in the external thing, then of course you need to go for the authentication type is very important. We will be covering a little later. So many authentication type is there. Of course, for if you go for authentication type, we are going to utilize some kind of passwords, right, to connect to a source system. If you take a database, username, password, connect server name, or all the crucial information, right? So we cannot able to fill it here directly. Then in that situation, for a security purpose, we should be using the Azure Key Vault. So we will be discussing Azure Key Vault in a separate session. I'll take it. So if you want to enter manually, then you can go ahead and enter manually. That is also available here. As of now, my my Azure Blob Storage is under in this subscription. It is available in this subscription itself. So it will be showing here. If you have a n number of subscription, that also will be listed here. You can able to switch the subscription, so that resources will load automatically here. So I'll be picking the storage, and if you click the test connection, that's it. Connection successful. I'm clicking OK. My link service is now ready. I can my link service is now ready in the sense like the connection string or my connection is ready to extract the data from a blob storage. That is what we have done so far. So I have established the connection to the blob storage. Now I am ready to pull the data from a blob storage. That is what we have done. So without establishing a connection, you cannot able to pull the data. This is what we have created, that Azure Blob Storage. Okay, so the important thing is, so if you see the JSON format, so in cloud environment, Azure cloud, everything is a JSON. Okay. So you can also able to create this link service dynamically through by using an SDK, through by an .NET code. It's possible. You can able to, you need not to come to a data factory, and you need not to create here manually. Okay, but we should understand it as a beginner. We should understand it through by an UI. So if you are a well expert, then of course experts will do through by and writing a code by using a Python, by using a .NET. They can able to create whatever link service they needed in a dynamic fashion. Okay, so such kind of flexibility, if you go for SDK manner, so you will get a lot more flexibility. You can able to parameterize the most of the things. So that's a beautiful thing about it, an SDK. So if you see here, as I said, the connection string is, this is how it will look like a connection string, and this is the credential. Okay, so that's all about the link service. So in the next session, we will be talking about our data set. So stay tuned. Thanks. Thank you for your valuable time. We will meet in next session. Thank you.